Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. Well, we've got some big news for you this week, talking about how there's somebody who threatens to split the Republican Party of Kentucky. But before we get into that, I want to mention two things really quickly. First of all, it has to do with a fella up in northern Kentucky. His name is Bernie Kunkel. Some of you may not know him. He has been a great patriot and conservative for decades, helping conservative causes, and he's in the hospital with a heart attack right now, fighting for his life. I just want you to know, Bernie, we're praying for you and you other patriots across the state. Even if you don't know this guy, the Lord knows him, and I hope you'll pray for his soon and quick recovery. Also, I want to talk about how this week on December the 7th is our National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. And I want to give you two quotes about that, and it relates into what we're going to be talking about today. First of all, I wanted to give you a quote from Winston Churchill. He was the Prime Minister over in the United Kingdom when the attack on Pearl Harbor happened. This is what he said. He said, "I never slept so soundly as the night after the attack of Pearl Harbor, because I knew the Americans would be entering the war and it would never be the same." And he was very correct on that. I also think the quote that really applies more to what we're talking about today is the quote from the Japanese admiral who coordinated the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was Admiral Yamamoto who said these words after the attack. He says, "I fear all we have done is awaken a sleeping giant and given him a terrible resolve." And he was absolutely correct. And as bad as the attack was on Pearl Harbor, and as much damage as it did to our nation, that is, an attack from without by an enemy is not as insidious or as damaging as attacks from within. And that's what I want to talk about today. The greatest threat to Americans' life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, it is not Russia, it's not North Korea, it's not Iran. Don't get me wrong, these people are definitely not our friends. These are hostile enemy nations. But the greatest threat to America right now is inside of America. Our liberties, our economy, our position, our power, our influence are all rapidly being destroyed by the radical left Democratic Party. And I took an oath when I joined the military that I would defend the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic. Just thought I'd emphasize that part. And there's no statute of limitations to that oath. And there's a bunch of other you veterans. I just thought it'd be nice to remind you about that. And it's not just me that's pointing this out. The entire world is seeing the same thing. Listen to this quote here from the president of El Salvador this week. This is what he tweeted. He says, "The most powerful country in the world is falling so fast that it makes you rethink what are the real reasons. Something so big and powerful can't be destroyed so quickly unless the enemy comes from within." And he is absolutely correct, and the world realizes it. We have people in power now who have got rid of our strategic oil reserves that are destroying our economy, our supply chains, any and every little thing, our freedom of speech. They want to take away our right to bear arms, all of these things. The attack is from within. And here's the danger. We have somebody who is part of this radical leftist agenda who is now running for a statewide office here in Kentucky, which is part of the major problem that we have right now. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, somebody running for a statewide office in Kentucky with a radical leftist agenda, he's going to talk about Andy Beshear. Oh, I really enjoy talking about Andy Pandy. I cover him a lot on the channel, and he'll doubtless be the topic of several shows to come. But he is not who I'm talking about this week, because again, that is an attack from without. I'm talking about an attack from within. Right now, it is a bad year to be a Democrat in Kentucky. Every year is a bad year to be a Democrat, but it's an exceptionally bad year to be a Democrat in Kentucky. The Democratic Party just got a thrashing in the elections this past month, and it looks like they're going to get another sound thrashing in the elections coming up next year. And it's not the election and all these people running for governor on the Republican side that I'm talking about. We'll be discussing the Republican candidates for governor and how they are separate from each other in the weeks to come. But this is a different office that we're going to be talking about this week. It is the office of the statewide state treasurer. And there's two people who are running for this office right now. Let me introduce you to both of these candidates. First guy running here is Mr. OJ Oleka, and please forgive me if I've mispronounced your name incorrectly. It's not intentional. He goes by OJ. And then the other guy running is a guy by the name of Andrew Cooperrider, and he goes by Andrew Cooperrider. You may recognize Mr. Cooperrider's name because he's the small business owner, coffee shop owner, who stayed open when Andy Beshear commanded that he close. And so he says, I don't have to. It took him to court, and the court sided with Andrew Cooperrider. And he won, and he was able to stay open the entire time when everybody else was locked down. And he helped several other small business owners in the state stand up against Andy Beshear and has been a strong advocate for liberty and standing against all the mandates. But he's not the one I'm going to be focusing on today. No, we're going to focus this entire time on the other guy, the guy whose name I can't pronounce. We're just going to call him OJ. This is a guy who threatens to split the entire Republican Party of Kentucky, and I'm going to show you why. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you now a list of things that this guy has said and done, and none of them are something that a Republican would ever do. So I believe what this guy has done, he is a radical leftist, realizes if he runs as a Democrat, he'll never get elected. So he's registered as a Republican, and he'll go to different events saying, I'm a Republican. He'll wear a red tie and say he's a Republican. All the while, he is pushing the radical leftist agenda. Not even a moderate Democrat, radical leftist. So let me show you what this guy has done, what he has said. And I challenge any Republican in the state to actually defend the statements this guy has said that I'm going to put up here. And this is not hearsay. I'm going to be showing you things from this guy's public Twitter account, the things that are a matter of the public record. Let's get started. Here's one of his tweets he sent out. He said, congratulations to Hillary Clinton for achieving history and shattering a milestone. I should have said that earlier. Well, congratulating Hillary Clinton. He sends to like her. We'll see that more in a second. Notice what he put out in March of 2016. He says, for the record, I think Trump could beat Clinton, but I don't want him to. He is detrimental to our country and my ideology. Now, wait a second here. He has blatantly, clearly said he wants Hillary Clinton to win over Trump because, you know what, Trump's ideas and his ideology, well, that doesn't match his. Well, you know what, I like Trump's ideas. I thought that was very good and definitely didn't want Hillary Clinton to win, but he said he did. Notice another quote from him. He said, Republicans, bloodthirst for political victory, are supporting Trump. Well, I didn't know it, but I guess we're all bloodthirsty. Notice what else he says. He says, I am a Republican, but I'm a black first. It is extremely difficult to defend my party with this Trump trash. I will never support him, ever. Well, I didn't realize supporting Donald Trump made us all trash, but according to OJ, you support him, you're part of the trash. Let's go on and see what else he says about the Republicans. He said the Republican National Committee, RNC, needs to condemn Trump. I don't care if he has the most delegates. His behavior and message are unbecoming. What do we stand for? He's like, listen, I don't care if this guy got the most votes. He shouldn't be president. And he wanted to stand with the Democrats to condemn President Trump. Notice what else he says. If walking away from Trump means losing in November, good. Again, another statement saying he really wants Hillary Clinton to be the president. He's also pushing for critical race theory, CRT, to be pushed in Kentucky public schools at all grade levels. He calls it implicit bias training. You can see here, this is the resolution that he was putting forward to say that the Kentucky Department of Education should require implicit bias training for all public educators and school leaders during the upcoming academic year, including the usage of corporal punishments training on an annual basis, and students are involved in the training, development, and process. He wants to taught you implicitly biased. All you white kids, you're all racist. You're born that way. It's implicit, and he wants you all taught that you're racist at every school level. So let's think about what this guy is pushing here right now. Said he wanted Hillary Clinton to win the election repeatedly. Trump supporters, you're all just a bunch of trash if you supported Trump. He was with the Democrats when they wanted to condemn Trump. Remember, they took a vote officially in Congress doing that, pushing critical race theory. So let me ask you a question now. All of these quotes from his public statements, his public accounts, are these the things a Republican would say? Can any Republican in office in our entire state stand up and defend these statements? Could this guy literally run as a Democrat and the Democrats use all of his statements in their campaign commercials? Quite literally, they could. This guy went on to form this organization known as Anti-Racism Kentucky. And according to the newspaper, Kentucky News Sentinel, on an article they ran on December the 1st, here just a week or so ago, they said that OJ says he was inspired to start this group because he was inspired by the Black Lives Matters movement. You know, that's the same group that burned Louisville to the ground and a bunch of other places in their mostly peaceful protests. So this guy is a radical leftist. Does this guy sound like a Republican to you? Sure doesn't to me. I dare any Republican in the state to defend the statements that this guy has made.
Well, I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you.
Yes, as it says in that famous Christmas movie, I triple dog dare you. Can't be done. These are not statements that a Republican would make. This is why it is called a Republican in name only. And again, the state treasurer is somebody who has a lot of influence in deciding where all of your money is going to be funneled to these different projects and programs, and we can see what kind of projects and programs that he is going to be pushing. So it's really kind of come down to, how is this going to split the Republican Party of Kentucky? Well, anybody who comes out, Republicans who's going to endorse this guy, that shows us you are endorsing the radical left disguised as Republicans. And I can tell you, we will be, the people who watch these things, we're going to be keeping great track of who actually is going to endorse a radical leftist disguised as a Republican. I am proud to be a Republican, and I want the Republican Party to stand on Republican principles and to actually support Republican candidates, not support the Democrat that's running against them, which is what he's doing here right now. So this is the whole reason why I hope that you watch Patriot Point each and every week, because I can tell you the mainstream media, they're sure not telling you about this stuff. They're not showing you what this guy has said publicly. So if you've never subscribed to the channel, hit that little subscribe button, hit the little bell icon. That way you'll get notified when there's a new program. So thank you for tuning in, and until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.
Well, I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you.